Hello. Good morning. We're going to be jumping in here to our day 16, working on our robot for our class here. Learning activated. Good. The focus of today is going to be to do the last components of the actual robot character. So pretty much anything that's kind of the base model of the robot. The chimney here, we're going to deal with that. The kind of the extra tanks we're going to add on to the sides. Mostly revolved around the backpack. So that way next week we'll be able to jump into the non-robotic elements of the character. So I'd like to do a wave where we go through and we add in like kind of like a partial cloak and some things that the robot himself attached to himself that are organic in nature. Then after that, we'll be jumping into doing the lights and the base, followed by the... Should we add greeblies after this point? Yeah, once you have the base robot model, I mean, you can add greeblies at any stage, even at the very end. The only time you can't add greeblies is when you've finished the sculpting and you're onto the painting. So... I think with my character, what I'm going to do is after I've completed the robot, then I'm going to look at it very carefully and I'm going to say, okay, is there any area that could use something else, something extra? And then kind of develop that bit extra and attach it. So I was thinking about possibly adding a little antenna onto his head, like on the side, maybe going up, but we'll see. Not 100% certain. Okay, let's get into it. My alcohol bottle looks like it's floating. It is with magic. Okay. So I just did something basic on the bottom here because I'm pretty sure we're going to have like stuff hanging out there. I just want to show you guys a reference that I ran into that is really inspiring and or the aesthetic that I'm going for my robot. Let me show you here. It's good to find stuff like this because it just can give you inspiration on your own design. There we go. So there's this piece right here. Just really like what's going on in the scene. It's kind of like that grimy Western style nomad robot. If we go here, I saved a few. These are saved on the board, by the way. Here's another one. Kind of this like, elements like this is what I'm looking for, where he's got this kind of fuel canister strapped to his leg. Obviously not something that's part of the original design of the robot, but something that's been added later. These are the kind of ideas that we're looking at. Also, paying attention to what makes the paint job look good is it's sections that were painted a certain color that there's kind of rust and stuff peeking through. I really like how that looks. And if you notice in this one, you have sections that are colored and sections that are not colored. So I think we're gonna come up with a paint theme. And then these areas with the writing, you know, like the 15 here and the text right here. Now there are ways you can order custom decals, and we could add decals, which is an easy way to do this. Or you can do it paint by hand. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'll see. Here's another example. I just really like how this type of stuff looks. I like in this one the kind of the wires hanging down here, and just looking how everything goes together and the way the wear and tear looks. That's definitely the look I'd like. Okay. Yeah, I think getting some white letter decals for a robot might not be a bad idea. They don't have to be custom though. They can just be like random numbers and letters, and you can make up your own robot's name. Okay, so I think the first thing we'll start with is I like to add these fuel tanks or canisters kind of onto the side of his pack. We might do both sides, but maybe asymmetrically, where the one side is bigger and the other side is smaller, but we'll just go ahead and demonstrate with one side. And then I want to show you guys how I'm going to deal with the chimney. And, you know, maybe some tubing and stuff like that. And that should be pretty good. So, one way to deal with the structure here is you can find an object that's oven safe, that's already kind of the diameter and shape that you want. But if you can't find the right size object, either made out of wood or whatever, we use foil. And I'm gonna show you how we're gonna do that. So let's get into it. Okay, so I'm using the edge of the table to the flat edge of the table and a lot of pressure to kind of compress the foil, and to focusing on kind of pushing it harder when you feel those bumps, so we can get as close to a cylinder shape, which is pretty good. Does the sculpture ever lose any of its details when it cooks? Is that something you have to be mindful of when making it? No, The idea is once it's cooked, everything's locked in. You don't have to worry about losing anything. So. Now we can either do a flat top or we could do kind of that domed type top there. Almost like a pill shape tank. I could see cutting it off like probably right here. So I'm just gonna use a little handsaw. We're just gonna saw some of the foil here. There you go. Now we're gonna use the edge of the table to kind of compress. Get that dome shape. Maybe if it wants to cooperate. Could also do that dome shape with an existing circle. Or sculpt it. That would be a good solid base structure for the tank that we want to go for here. Let me grab a piece of oil tape. Hold it all together. This has been a newer discovery of mine for messing with aluminum armatures. Just kind of helps hold it all together. Not a necessary step, but a nice one. There. Yeah, you can get this from if you go to the hardware store and you go to the section where they have all the duct work. This is actual duct tape for taping the seams in your heating ducts. Okay, let me grab some things. I want to show you guys some examples of other approaches. Building the frame. Another real easy way to create, the more geometric your starting structure is, the easier job you'll have at rendering. See if I can find just a cylinder. It seems I have every shape but a cylinder on hand. I need to restock my wooden stuff. I have a bin just full of just unfinished wooden pieces, tongue depressors, some of the chest pieces. I could see using one of those. I'll just grab a few. All right. Just grab a few wooden elements here. a wooden sphere, which could become a sphere-shaped tank of some sort, even two right next to each other or something like that. You know, these are unfinished chess pieces. Oop. And then these wooden beads are nice because they're actually easier to split because of the hole in the middle. So say we wanted a little half circle cap, we can split this in half and then stick it on there. Or even just using a combination of these as a unique shape like this. Could be cool. And then you just cover it with a layer of clay and design it. Tempted to do that. It's just some wooden handle to something. Looks like oak. There's also this random shape. Cool options, yeah. Oh, look at that. There. Yeah. I'm not really digging the shape. I'd say if I had two of these, I would put them end to end, and that would be a good solution. So I think I'm gonna work with our custom made one here. So what I will do is kind of cover this with clay and probably get it as close to the shape as I want, and then bake it, and then hit it with the belt sander like that. Molding cast the wood and get a second one. You could. Realistically, if this were not a class, I would just go to the store and get some more stuff. I wonder if I have. Let me pick around here for a minute more. Oh, you know what? I have another one. Okay, we're in business. Not the belt sander. Oh yes. The belt sander is a valuable tool. There we go. I'm gonna just stick those end to end there. For Levita Lux's sake, we're gonna go with a tank like this, I think. There we go. Nice shape. So either way, you know, you can build it from scratch, or we can use an existing object. This is where the collecting of wooden objects comes in handy. Now I'm going to cut this end part off here with this hobby saw. Don't really need that. Very good. Now it'd be best to treat this like a big greebly, where we're making the object separate, and then at the end, once it's all baked and finished, we just stick it on there with like a fresh chunk of clay on the backside. Anytime you can do that, it's always so much nicer to work on. Now, I'm also thinking about, okay, so this object is going to have detail all the way around it. So what about the other side? Like the other tank, Well, you're just gonna repeat the same steps for this. Just the same thing, but on the other side. Okay. With this technique, you'll be able to make as many tanks as you want. It's a repeatable thing. Okay, so now what I'm thinking about here is this is going to be a pain in the butt to sculpt as is. Watch the stream backwards. I meant what object if you don't have the same material? I don't know. I'm not sure. Could be anything. Could be this one. Could be this one with the ball on the bottom. Could be this one with the belt sander. Or I could go to the store and get 2 more of these and have the same if I wanted the same on both sides. Totally up to you, however you want to do it. Could be a wicker basket. It could be. Yeah. Okay, so anyways, let me glue this. Let's glue this together. We're just going to use some super glue. If you know, actually, if this is a perfect example of, actually, I'm going to use super glue. You could use a piece of foil tape and hold it together that way, but I'm going to use super glue. Except I keep misplacing my activator spray. Where is it? Ah, there it is. It's important for you to know, Levita Lux, that I don't think that far ahead when I'm working on stuff. I stay very much focused on what's in front of me. And I'm not thinking about what's on the other side because it's not in front of me. There's no reason to think about it right now. Occasionally I'll drift into thinking ahead a little bit, but usually it's best to not think ahead and to stay focused on the step that's in front of you. Then cross that bridge when you get there. Just gonna weld these together here. Put them together however you want. Could probably use epoxy glue, or if you didn't want to use any glue, you could just drill a hole and put a peg in between the two of them. I'm just going to do glue because once it's covered in clay, the clay will become the glue, essentially. Okay, so now it's going to be a big pain in the butt to be able to sculpt this because there's nowhere to hold on to, you know, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole in the bottom here so I can insert some sort of a handle, like a piece of wire or a dowel rod, and that gives me something to hold on to that's not the object. So I'm thinking at the top there's going to be kind of like a pipe coming out the top here and going to this anyways, so we're just going to drill on that top side. Maybe this size drill bit here. Let's see. Slow and steady wins the race when drilling onto an object like this. I can already tell this drill bit is extremely dull, so let's get a smaller one that's sharp, and then we'll just drill twice. little pilot hole going. Hey, Johnny, I certainly do. We do mornings, only mornings on Sundays, and then we do Monday through Thursday. There's a morning stream and an evening stream. Okay, pilot hole in there. Now I'm just going to go in with this one and widen it. Okay, now let's get some sort of a handle going. Maybe this gauge wire should fit. Yeah. Now I'll be able to sculpt this and have a place to hold on to that's not the part. Okay. Let's grab our pasta machine. Okay. All right, let's do like 3. Yeah, it's awesome, Johnny. Yeah, there is a lot of really good stuff on there. Every second Friday, I do a show and tell, too. So if you're posting anything, every second Friday, I check. Which this upcoming Friday will be the second Friday. Okay. Can't find my big brush. We're just going to use this one. So we're going to add our clay glue. Now getting the clay to stick to a wooden surface can sometimes be tricky, but if we put enough glue, not too much, but not too little, it should be just fine. If it's too much, it'll want to slip. It's like Bacon Bond, yeah. It's Bacon Bond is just Sculpey's version of this glue, or this glue is Cosklay's version of Bacon Bond. It's called C2 Clear Bond. I like this one much better though because of the viscosity, how thin it is. So much easier to spread, which gives it other uses other than gluing. You can use it to kind of blend things, or you can paint it over little bits to kind of add durability. Bacon Bond tends to be more, it's a thicker kind of glue, but you know, it'll do the same job. I do use a pasta machine to condition clay. Okay. So we're just gonna put it on there. We're gonna try to maintain the thickness of the material. I mean, I don't want to squish it down too hard in some areas. No, let's actually kind of sandwich it together. So just sandwiched it. I'm just going to kind of cut along the border here. Just get it as close as we can to kind of come together, but to do a little bit of sculpting. It's also important to make sure we got no air bubbles kind of trapped in there. Hey, what's up, clown? We're having our class today of how to sculpt a robot, and today we're making kind of accessory pieces for the backpack. Oh yeah? Привет. Привет. That's about all I know. Russian. I'm going to take my tool here. We're just going to kind of smooth out this seam line. Just kind of going back and forth. Till it's gone. Oh, I can see there's some trapped air right here, so I'm just going to take my knife, kind of relieve that. For the under clay base. I'm not sure what you're asking. Can you use metal objects? Yeah, you can use anything that will survive the oven. So pretty much anything other than plastic. Plastic technically survives the oven too, but you just don't know what kind of fumes you're getting. And it can warp and change shape, so. Could even use cardboard technically. All right. Metal, wood, glass, paper. Commodore Rex from Star Wars. I can do anything. I sure can. Feel free to reach out via email if you'd like to get anything made. That's where I handle all of the commissions. Dragon from Hobbit. Oh yeah. Anything's possible. Smaug. There, I've gotten rid of the seam line. Our kind of gas tank cylinder here. Oops. I kind of want to see if there's any it's common to have tank lines. Let's see, pressurized tank. Look up some reference. Sometimes there's weld lines. Seems like there is, but they're horizontal. Oh yeah, Clown Pierce. I've not heard of that person. Okay, so it seems like based on reference, there's seam lines that kind of go this way. So let's basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the seam lines and then kind of do some textural work on this, but then we'll want to get it in the oven before we do anything else. Just like we did with the backpack, you know, where we kind of do a layer above. So let's see here. This one got a little bit off track. Oops. Okay. Kind of looking for the prettiest side and the ugliest side, and we're gonna do a pretty side out. Kind of like this. Okay, and then at this stage, I'm gonna grab it with this hemostat, because that's more to hold on to. I'm going to use this to kind of create an overlap, I think. All right. Maybe a little bit more. Focusing mostly on this side because this is the pretty side that's going to be facing outwards. Okay, now I want to make the metal on the ends look a little bit more kind of like heavier. So we're going to give it this kind of cast iron, heavier metal type of texture. I think I will probably end up adding like some gauges showing that this is kind of like a pressurized tank. But that can be done afterwards as like a greebly. Once we get this in the oven for the first time, we'll do the start working on the chimney. I'll do some smaller dots near the edge where we're going to have some kind of bolts that are holding it all together. There tends to be a little bit more corrosion where the metal touches the metal. You learn things like this through observing the world around you, you know, like when you see a rusted surface or a rusted object, you can pay attention to the textures and try to almost like reverse engineer what's happening visually. Little areas where more moisture would reside will cause more rusting, more wear and tear. So you can already see by using the 2 pieces of wood, we've saved ourselves a lot of shaping time. Whereas if we went with the foil form, we would either have to spend more time making the form good. Yeah, this is kind of like a tank or like a pressurized tank that's going to be right here on the side of the pack. So we're just making it separate first, and then we'll be attaching it after it's finished. Now you can see we got this kind of like this little bit of a defect right here, and that was where the two pieces of wood met together. We can remove that, or we can just keep it. Just depends. Or we could also remove it in the second layer, which might be a better idea. So meaning we would bake it, lock it in, and then we would just simply add some material right there and make the shape cleaner. I could even see even bulging the middle of this out, which we might do, where we add more material around the center and kind of almost like it's kind of bulging out a little bit. So I'm just going to leave it for now. No need to deal with it right now. But I will, I think, do one more round of kind of defining this edge here. Maybe just a little bit more. Did my hobby start with Warhammer 40K models? The very beginning started when I was like 10 years old. I had a book that kind of taught a basic way of layering clay to create kind of caricatures. That was the beginning for me. But there's been some Warhammer 40K influence. But it wasn't until later, later in life. Okay, now we're going to add some rivets going along the top and the bottom here. And we're going to need a consistent supply of those, which means we're going to do it this way here. Anytime you need a lot of rivets, all to be similar size, doesn't have to be exact, but at least close. It's easier if we kind of roll something out here. If I can get the right tool out there. And then we're just going to try to make some equal size slices. This will kind of ensure that the piece of clay is about the same size. Sometimes it fights you. Not immediately around me, in the other room. Actually, I don't even know. We just sent off a bunch of work. You have to go check out my website. You can see finished works there. cnotbusch.com. And click on the gallery. There we go. So we just kind of pick them up with our finger, give them a little roll. Eyeballing the spacing. Now the key to learn here with this object we've made is to just recognize how much easier it is to make a geometric object with starting with a geometric base. Really, it's literally the don't reinvent the wheel scenario playing out. You could build a geometric object from scratch, but that is exactly that. That's reinventing wheel. It would be cool if we all had wood lathes and we could just lathe our own shapes exactly how we wanted them to be, and that would be an effective way of doing things. But I'd say most of us don't have our own wood lathes, so we just have to always keep our eyes peeled for wooden objects. There really are these little packs of wooden blocks and random wooden objects that you can buy for really cheap. Spheres and cylinders specifically are really nice to have, of various sizes. I was actually contemplating at the beginning of the robot project that we would build the whole robot in this method, where we essentially have a bunch of various wooden blocks kind of glued together, and then we just literally layer an even piece of clay over the whole thing, and then boom, you got a nice geometric shape. But I opted not to go that way, to do more of the traditional approach. That could I bet yield a really unique robot design. Almost like a kit bashing, armature kit bashing approach. Okay, now anytime you do rivets like this, even though we've kind of pushed them down just to make sure that they're not going to go anywhere, we're gonna take some clay glue here. We're just gonna kind of dab the clay glue around these rivets. This will really ensure they're not going to go anywhere. Don't let the clay glue get too thick though. We want to kind of spread it around. Not too thick and not too thin, just right. Yeah, I mean, before I used to do it this way, you would occasionally get little bits like this that would kind of delaminate and come off during the creation process. Chance of that happening are very slim once you clay glue it on there. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my scratch making tool here, maybe a 3-pronged one. We're just gonna work in some wear and tear scratches coming from different directions. Really lightly dragging from different angles. And maybe a little bit exaggerated little ding. I always like to think of that I'm actually like this is made out of metal and you're just actually denting the metal. The clay moves just like metal would if it were to be dented. Yeah, every project starts with a kind of a concept phase or a clay sketch. All right. So let's get this in the oven. That'd be the first layer, and then after that we would do more. We're gonna do more stuff on top, kind of like sculpt this middle area a little bit more. Maybe add some like metal banding or whatever. But essentially, you just work with this until it's exactly how you want it, and then we're gonna attach it to the side of the backpack, just like a giant greebly. While that's cooking, we're gonna work on the chimney here. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. Okay. Let me pull up some reference for our stovepipe. Chimney. Yeah, exactly. So we can add layers above what we've just done, and now it's easier to handle and hold the object, that initial layer baked in. And you should really just get in the habit of baking more often than trying to do everything in one run. So you don't have to. Nice, Clayton. All right, we need to condition a little bit of clay here, and then we're going to do the stovepipe. That should be enough, probably. Making sure the wire is how we want it for the base structure. Okay, let's think here. That is tempting. I think I want the stovepipe to be a little bit more narrow though, so we're not going to do any bulking with foil. We're just going to go in straight with the clay here. Okay. First step, we're just going to add some clay glue here to the wire. Not sure the stovepipe will go all the way up the top, but we'll leave the wire for now and just cut whatever's left over after. Alright, now I'm going to roll out the thickness that I actually want the stovepipe to be. Thinking something like this should be good. I'll just kind of cut it here. go. Now, just gonna take it like this here. I'm gonna smoosh it flat. Carefully, you're smooshing it so it's kind of halfway through. See that? And we're gonna kind of squish the sides, but also push that way. Like so. Then we take a tool and close the gap here. So I'm gonna go this way and then this way. Okay. Slide the tool like this. And the other opposite way. Get rid of the seam line. Okay, now we get the freehand sculpting cylinder. Just gonna clean up the bottom here. I'm probably going to use this tool here, and I'm going to use kind of movements like this. You don't want to use a lot of pressure when something's been attached to a wire here like this. You use a lot of pressure, you try to change too much, it'll get it to kind of disconnect from the wire. We don't want that, so. Actually, you know what? I'll use this tool. Roll that puppy along the desk. Yeah, I mean that could be a good strategy. Let's see here. Let's see. Just gonna carefully give it a roll here. It's better to do many light passes than to do one heavy one. Not too bad. You know, let's take a blade here. We're just gonna use the blade and the desk. Okay, now I wanna create kind of sections of the chimney. So maybe like 1, 2, 3 sections, where if you've ever messed around with like chimney material, you know, where they just don't quite go together and they're at a little bit of an angle. So I'm gonna intentionally, let's get this first one a little bit more clean here. And then we do just slightly off, kind of using the edge of the tool here. Kind of like that. Let's do it again. There we go. Now, okay, now we'll kind of clean it up. We'll use this tool to kind of restructure things a little bit. Knock out any defects. Is this a mirror view of the visuals? What? Hey, what's up, Bula? What's up, Seb? Yeah, not too bad. We got a pretty good cylindrical stovepipe structure to start. I could see making something around the base of this. It's just a little bit wider. Let's see, this is my right side, and this is my left side. It shouldn't be mirrored, I don't think. That's alright, Bula. Thankfully, we have VODs for you to watch. Okay, you know, let's see. Let's take this tool here. Yeah, I do. Love you Deluxe. I'm incapable of doing things the way everyone else does things. It's looking much cleaner. Okay, so we're going to thicken up the bottom here. So I want to make this seam line a little bit more clear. Just using this tool to kind of clearly define that line of separation. Then we'll thicken the bottom area here. All right. Kind of roll out a piece of clay that's pretty even in thickness, and then we just kind of wrap it around here. Push it. Create that nice tapered edge. Can use a tool like this. Now, as far as the cap for the chimney, I think we will make that as a separate piece and stick it on there, just like a greebly. I think the way I would make it, if you want that traditional kind of cone shape chimney cap, then make the cap on like a piece of wood like this. Let me just kind of quickly demonstrate. Whatever the top part of the chimney is, just make like this. And we could do it geometric, or we can just make it a cone. Or you can find an existing thing. Like that, and you just kind of clean up the edge, make it however you want. You bake it, and then you take that off and you just pop it on top here and sculpt the rest of it. Don't try to do stuff like this on the sculpture. That's what creates a nightmare. See, it was really easy to get this kind of cone shape. I might use that, I might not, I'm not sure. But anyways, texture the chimney, add some rivets, create the cap. Finish your tanks. And then I think next time I'll show how to attach the tanks and do the tubes. And then we'll get into the creation of his cloak. Yeah, so you finish the cap completely, and then you bake it, and then you remove it and attach it. Yes. Now this isn't done. I would do maybe some seam lines and some rivets and texture, but the shape is the hard part. You know, once you get the shape, everything else is the fun part. So. What are the plans for the piece after it's done? Well, I'll try and find a home for it. So the piece is available if anyone's interested. It's going to be an LED lit piece with a scenic base, kind of this exploring, whimsical robot. They'll have kind of smoke coming out of the chimney and a flowing cloak. And there'll be a fire LED, kind of like furnace effect coming out of the chest here. And a LED light coming out of the eye, and maybe a small red blinking light coming from that second eye. And he'll be twirling like a grappling hook in this hand, and in this hand holding the ream of rope. So for the full body. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. So the purpose of this is to show or to demonstrate how to make a robot. But I usually, with the class pieces, I try to sell them, and I usually they are sold at a cheaper price than like if it were to be commissioned. So if you're interested in getting one of my works, definitely shoot me a message, shoot me an email, and we can talk price. But yeah, that's going to be it for the class today. So for homework, get the chimney done, and if you're going to do 2 tanks, get the tanks done. If you feel confident connecting them to the backpack, go right ahead. If you want to wait, I will show the connection of them to the backpack. I could see drilling a peg, not only using clay to hold it on there, but drill a hole into the backpack and then a hole into the tank and put like a piece of wire or a wood as like a peg to connect them. So it's not just held in there with the clay, or, you know, you don't just take a blob of clay and stick it on there. That might still work, but I usually, with something a little bit bigger and heavier, I'll just make a peg that attaches it alongside the clay. So, but yeah, so tanks and chimney done for next week, and then we're gonna get into adding the cloak and all the organic elements, like the things that are not part of the original robot's build that have been strapped on or attached in some way. Just gonna kind of play around with a few ideas. Yeah, but there also might be a chance that next week will be another homework session, depending on if I can get. I got a lot. I have so much work to do. We have to do some homework sessions here because we're starting to get to the point where I can't. I need to do the other arm and the other leg. I just need time to do that. So there might be another homework session next week before the next class. Anyways, let's jump over to Discord and see what you guys have been working on with your class projects and give some feedback. Give me 1 second here. Well, let me save this. So if you don't know, these projects are available for you to follow along at any point, and you can post your work each week. And on Sunday, I check Discord and give feedback. So if you follow along any of the classes, feel free to share your work and get some feedback. Check out, if you want to know where to go, you join the Discord. You scroll down, there's cnotbusch School. General class info is where you'll find like tools and materials and the things to get, basic information. And then you just post in your whatever class you're following along with. The classes are all available on YouTube in playlist form. Okay, and then when you finish something, post it in the gallery final pics. Now, if you don't see these classes when you join the Discord, you got to go here. Channels and roles. Click on that. Go to Browse Channels. And then scroll down to cnotbusch School and make sure that these are clicked so you can see them. There's a little button here. So, okay. We'll start with the robots. Okay. Well, that's where we left. Yeah, it's been a little while, hasn't it? Sort of late to the party. Finished my aquatic robot sketch. Getting weird with it. Let's see. Buoy and sock puppet are important elements. Okay. Also, the circle on the back will be a wheel potentially if it doesn't read right yet. Adding some sort of shell on his back. Definitely going to have a detachable piece. He's been on the ocean floor too long. Okay, so like a little oceanic robot. Very nice. Almost getting I can see the whatchamacallit, lobster vibes here, especially with the face. Oh yeah, definitely lobster-esque. That's cool. And you know what? This is the thing. This is the whole point and purpose of the sketching phase is to get kind of hermit crab. Oh yes, okay, yeah. Hermit crab vibes. Yeah, that's cool. This is the point of doing the sketch, is that you like explore. You want to allow yourself to explore ideas. You know, push the ideas far and then wheel them back. That's where the best ideas are. Kind of like go way overboard with your ideas and then kind of go back a couple notches, and that's like the sweet spot. So, but yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Little oven, is that like an oven mitt? Almost like a play on Wilson. Cool. That's exciting. A very unique robot indeed. And coming at it with a story like that, like a robot that's kind of designed off of oceanic creatures that lives in the ocean or near the ocean. Cool. Okay, I can't get over how crazy it is to learn how to make removable things like this. Thanks, CNOT. Did 2 layers of clay over the whole thing due to being a girl and not using a belt sander. Okay. On the regular. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Just, do what you can with what you got. Made all the greebly looking things before baking. Oh, by the way, belt sanders can be used by ladies. Okay, just so you know. It's not there's no like requirement of honestly, a belt sander it's a fairly easy tool to use. There's not a lot of things that can really go wrong. I don't care. And you don't need like a lot of raw strength to use a belt sander. The sander does the work essentially. But anyways, all right, back to it here. So, made all the greeblies looking things before baking, painted on C2 and stuck them there. The only damage was the bottom hose fell off, so I reconstructed it by drilling holes and adding the disc. Okay, this is looking good. That's really nice, clean work there, Levita. Yeah. That turned out really good, see? No belt sander needed. Awesome. Very nice. No class today, no? Okay. Quick and terrible photos of today's success. Need to change the elbow angles so the welding arm is positioning the right direction, but everything went really smooth. Now it's removable and strong despite looking precarious. Okay. Ah, I see. Okay, so here's the attachment point. This is the robot that's working on... Now look at this good use of not reinventing the wheel here, what Clayton's showing. He could have sculpted this telescoping brass, kind of like eye that's zooming in, but instead used objects that already exist and created the same look that, well, looks even better and didn't take as long, you know? So, very nice. Now, we'll get into when we do painting to how to paint these metal elements, because acrylic paint does not stick to metal, but there are paints that do, so. But yeah, it's looking good. I see, so you're gonna change this arm so he's kind of welding in the right spot. Are you thinking of doing like a welding light, like LED effect? Like the spark from the welder? Or not paint those parts? You don't have to paint them now. Yeah, but I think painting is always better, or at least dirtying them up so they don't, so they blend, so it all blends in together. Cool. Hold on one sec. I want to disable stream mode. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's Bula. Bula Jula. Look at this guy. It seems he's trying to be human quite a lot. Awesome. He's got his list. He's checking it twice. This is like you. It's like you combined the gremlin class with the robot class to create this character. Man, now you're making me want to make like a goofy Knights series. That's what he's giving me, this idea of like super goofy old man faced characters and like super big like heavy duty armor, you know? You know, like a very big torso with the tiny little legs kind of style. The flesh is weak. Nice. Okay. Very good there, Bula. First completed human/robot hybrid sculpture. Beep, boop, bop. May I take your order? Oh, I see. Okay, so like a restaurant bot. That's what the flooring, I was wondering what that was about. There you go. Okay, let's see here. Hi there, I'm new here. Just started sculpting as a hobby, and I'm so happy I found cnotbusch on YouTube. It's great to be here. This is my third sculpture, reference a young dragon, and I don't have proper tools or good clay yet, so I'll have to wait a bit before I can continue working on my dragon sculpture, or at least try to. Okay, let's see. Hey, it's looking great. It's an interesting base you got there. Interesting piece of wood. Yeah, it's looking great. Very nice anatomy. Let's see here. I could see... Oh, no, that works. I was just going to say that I could see that this paw might need to be, or this arm might be reading a little bit short, but it's a little bit hard to see from this angle. I think it's okay, actually. But yeah, all the other anatomy everything's reading really nice here with the forms on the body and good. Very good. Great work. Keep it up. Mr. Brightside got some more work done. For the top book, I was going for the emblem under the leather look. Okay. Oh, like kind of like when they stamp leather with like a stamp, like a pushed-in leather emblem. I used Flex Flow and a paper towel. Turned out okay, I think, on the wings. Okay, let's hear it. Oh, I see. Okay, right here. Interesting. Yeah, like a stamped leather look. Interesting. Paper towel with Flex Flow. Yeah, you know, it works. You know, it's all going to be based on how you paint it, too, you know. Awesome. Nice work, my friend. Give me a handshake. That's a nice, it's got a nice look from that angle. Cool. Good work there, Mr. Brightside. All right, a few dragon updates. Nice. Let's go on to the gremlins. I'm late to the class. Just finished week 1. Okay. I'm following along with oil clay since I have a bunch of that I want to use up. Tali FM. Am I saying that right? Hey, nice. That's good. See, this, I think this is always the tricky part right here, and you did a very good job. Getting these eyes, like really paying attention to the negative space of the eye. You know, like just look at the silhouette of the line that the eyelids make, you know, and you can see how close this is. You can see where it's off a little bit, you know, you can see that this one bumps up higher right here than right here, but that is close. That is in the close enough range where it reads very well, you know, because these type of characters can be a little bit asymmetrical. But yeah, that's wonderful. The bump on the forehead is a little bit protruding too much. Needs to be blended in a little bit more. I think that's the difficulty with oil clay is with the polymer clay. It's easier because it's so squishy. It's easier to kind of get everything to kind of come together and look natural. With like Chavant, those oil clays, you really got to like force them to blend in a lot more. So they don't really like to naturally. So, but other than that, it's looking good. All right. Okay. Welcome aboard. I'm looking forward to seeing more from you there. Gallery final picks. Oh, okay. All right, we got a new... I think we already saw that one. Okay, we got a... He's finished. Deeds. Mr. Deeds here. All right. Yeah, I really like the colors. The hat. The red of the hat with the blue of the shirt combined with the mushroom having that same kind of color. That's awesome. It's a little bit hard to make out the... Is that a bird? Oh yeah, okay, now I could see it. Yeah. The bird kind of blends in with the color of the beard and the shirt. Awesome. There we go. Loving the living edge wood platform that you got your work on there. Oh, very good. Is that a finger right there? Okay, he's just got some random person's finger in his backpack, you know? Found it while hiking around in the woods. Cool. Wonderful work. Troll finger. Or a witch. It's a very important reagent for making potions. A little bit of troll finger. Okay. Well, very nice submissions, everybody. we'll be back next Sunday for class. If anybody's watching and is feeling that itch to get into sculpting, feel free to check out the playlists and join us. You know, it's a journey, and the purpose of the journey is not the finished sculpture. As nice as it is to have finished work, you're going to be learning all kinds of different tools and techniques and tricks that will catapult your sculpting kind of career, I guess we'll call it. Your sculpting journey. You're going to go from, you know, just getting started to way ahead of the game just by using the method that I've spent pretty much my whole lifetime developing. So, and then, you know, you learn the way that I do things. It's not the only way, but it at least gives you a good foundation to continue to grow and build from. And I'm sure there's other people you'll see, and you'll grab little bits. You know, this is how it's been for me learning too. It's you have things you discover yourself, but then there's things that other people do, and you're just like, ooh, I like that, and you grab a little bit of that. You grab a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's all based on what you like, you know. And then ultimately, once you've kind of gone down this path enough, you're gonna find yourself in a very unique place, all guided by the things you like and the things you don't like. So, yeah. I think the more you do a tutorial that's very follow along, like what we're doing here, just the more of what I have you're going to grasp and you're going to hold on to. Because when you do a technique, someone shows you something and then you go and you do it, it sticks in your mind very, very good. If you watch a video of somebody doing a cool technique, but you never actually apply it, it's, you know, in and poof, gone. So it's very important to do this, seeing something, then doing it, then seeing something else, then doing it, you know. So keep up the good work, everybody. I'm going to get out of here. Going to carry on with my weekend. Thank you all very much for joining me, and I look forward to Monday tomorrow. We'll be getting back to work. We'll be doing more work on our anime character here. You can see her up there. She's actually getting pretty far along, and we really want to get her pushed. So, yeah, lots to do. New work week ahead of us. Let me find somebody to raid, and we'll go ahead and get out of here. Let's see here. A lot of new follows today, so thank you for everyone that followed. Welcome in. Welcome in. Always nice to see some traction. Fiend Sculpts is sculpting a head. Only one viewer. Should we go? Let's go raid Fiend. We've been live for almost 2 hours. Okay. Here we go. Till next time, my friends. Bye-bye.